Last year, Israel began construction of what they plan will be a security fence running for more than 300 miles. Israel said the fence was intended to prevent Palestinian terrorists from infiltrating Israel from the West Bank. Part electrified chain link fence, part concrete wall, the self-styled security obstacle is costing more than £1 million a mile. The Palestinians worry that under the guise of security, Israel has other motives for building the fence. As the bulldozers move in, the fence begins to profoundly change the lives of both Palestinians and Israelis. Raja is just 19. She and her new baby face being cut off from her parents and the home she was raised in. Sandra, an Irish Jew, lives in a West Bank settlement. She must now make a choice, whether to move her family or stay cut off behind the fence.
I can't live in fear the whole time. It's not what I want for my children or for myself. They promise us protection. You can't just, promise things and then just take it back. You can't live in a place without feeling secure.
For many communities, the fence brings great uncertainty. The Israelis in this kibbutz have lived in peace with their Arab neighbors for decades. But as the fence goes up, terrible events will come to severely strain that relationship. Salem, the starting point of the fence, just a few miles from the Palestinian town of Jenin. Colonel Netzach Mashiach is in charge of construction. The meaning of his name is Eternal Messiah, and the Defense Ministry expects him to perform a miracle, to build the fence within 12 months.
The main producer of terrorist bombs are in Jenin. This obstacle and fence made to prevent them from crossing to Israel. We are making it so urgently after all this huge number of suicide bombers that were exploded in Israel. Recently, in the last week, there were 2 or 3, I even don't remember.
What's this noise?
This is from Jenin. Something from Jenin. Don't worry.
The green line marks where Israel meets the occupied West Bank. From Salem Junction, the Israeli plan is, initially, to build a barrier north-south for 70 miles in this area. The bulldozers are ploughing up land that has long been hotly contested. The first Arab-Israeli war ended in 1949, a year after Israel had declared an independent state. In another war in 1967, Israel seized land from Egypt, Jordan and Syria. They gave back land to Egypt, but still occupy the Golan Heights, the West Bank and Gaza Strip, despite UN resolutions. Israel has already built a security fence around the Gaza Strip. There have been attacks on soldiers and settlers inside Gaza, but no suicide bomber has successfully entered Israel from here since the Intifada began. Now the fence around the West Bank has begun. And for the West Bank village of Romani, the fence will change the lives of Palestinians who live there forever. Before the Intifada, the local men worked in Israel. Now the vast majority are unemployed, as they are prevented from crossing into Israel. "19-year-old Raja has only lived here in Romani for the past 2 years. She grew up inside Israel in Salem, and like her family, has Israeli citizenship. After she married her husband Mansour, she moved across the Green Line into the West Bank. Mansour, a carpenter, is one of the lucky few who still has a job in Romani. Raja, 8 months pregnant with her first child, has to cross into Israel, to Salem, to see a doctor. There is no doctor in Romani, and she can't reach the hospital in Jenin because it's under curfew. Her young cousins from Salem have come to help her.
Romani and Salem were always considered one village. My parents and I never thought it would be so difficult. I can't leave my husband and his family. And at the same time, I can't live without my parents and family. So I'm in a dilemma because of this fence, and I don't know what to do. All the countries have opened their borders. Berlin, for instance, destroyed its wall. So I wonder why they are building this fence. I don't know why the whole world is silent, why they let the Israelis build this fence between themselves and Palestine, when in the rest of the world the borders are opening up. I walk this rough and difficult road because there's no other way. I can't get through the checkpoints because they don't let me, and I'm afraid I'll get shot.
Raja arrives at her parents' home in Salem. Even though the villages are so close, the journey has taken the best part of an hour.
Do you see her house? It should only be 10 minutes away.
That's Romani over there. My house is in the middle. My brother-in-law's house is next to it.
As the first phase of the fence goes up, it becomes apparent that it is not following the Green Line, the borderline separating Israel from the West Bank, which is recognized internationally but not by Israel. South of Salem, it begins to cut deep into Palestinian family lands. Around Kibbutz Metzer, Israel is proposing moving the fence east, cutting right through land owned by the neighboring Palestinian village of Kafin. The kibbutz was founded 50 years ago by Argentinian Jewish immigrants. Its 450 residents say they have always enjoyed peaceful relations with their Palestinian neighbors. They are worried this may be about to change. The left-wing community generally supports the fence, but objects to the proposed route. They have offered to give up some of their land for the fence in an attempt to prevent the government confiscating land from their Palestinian neighbors. A protest rally has been organized. It begins with a song for peace. Doron, the General Secretary of the kibbutz, is being supported by Irit, a nurse, in his campaign to change the route of the fence.
I don't like fences at all, to start with. I think people should live without fences. Fence is something that puts a border between people, like a wall between people. I think I'm quite willing now to do some drastic act about it and not let them build a fence with my own body.
When you say drastic act, what do you mean exactly?
Like stopping them with my own body, like standing, not letting them. They won't run me over. Hopefully.
That's the kibbutz, and that's Kafin, and that's the mandatory border stone. And there's a stone like this every 150 meters. Over there is the border drawn in 1949. If you're building a separation fence, what's more appropriate than building it here, where it belongs? Instead, it goes right between these olive trees, through where all the trees are planted, all the way to Kafin. From tomorrow, they won't be Kafins anymore.
In the Palestinian village, word of the planned route is causing alarm. The village is desperately poor, and its 9,000 residents have come to rely almost exclusively on their olive and fruit trees to survive. One villager, Adnan, still has a job working for the kibbutz. Taisir, the mayor of his village, and other neighbors have come together at his house to discuss the threat of the fence. Adnan takes his family to visit Irit at the kibbutz. He wants to enlist her help. Adnan and Irit got to know each other after she helped his sick daughter get urgent medical care at a hospital in Israel. Irit's husband, Yoram, is the head of kibbutz security.
We are one family. For me, there is no difference between an Arab and a Jew. All that matters is that we live together. We don't need a fence or anything else to come between us.
What are you going through these days with the building of the fence?
This is a difficult time for the villagers. We live solely from our trees, the olives and our lands. We don't have much space. We have very little. And if they close off the fence tomorrow and we don't have work, what are we going to live on?
And what do you think will happen then?
I'll tell you the truth. A man has to find food for his family. Without work, he'll either have to steal or kill to get it.
The picking season is just getting underway. Entire families, young and old, have come out to pick the olive crop as concern grows that the trees may be destroyed. There's no time to waste. The heavy machinery is inching closer by the hour. Further south, the fence is starting to raise questions among the 200,000 Jewish settlers who now live on occupied Palestinian land inside the West Bank. Ginot Shomron is a settlement of 5,000 secular and religious Jews. Sandra and her husband, a Moroccan Jew, lived in London before emigrating to a home inside Israel, then moving to this settlement in search of a better life. Now she's uncertain about her future here. Generally, people would be surprised to know that there are Irish.
They're very
Irish
surprised.
Jews living in the settlement.
Yes, some people don't think I'm Jewish when they, Ireland. I went to a barbecue a few months ago and I went out and bought some beer and the people were shocked. You drink beer? And I said, yeah. Nobody drinks in Israel, especially in here. You nearly got your money in your bag and everything?
Mom, look at me, everybody's here.
Since 3.5 years ago, we live in here now. And the kids love it, my wife like it. And that's it, we just live a very good life here. The kids is always playing outside. We didn't come here by force, we didn't break any law. We are citizens. Even the government actually encourage people to go and live in those settlements. In fact, they give you even grants.
If I was an outsider, I don't think I would come. If I was living in London, and I wouldn't come out to Israel at the moment, and they want me to come back, to live near them, be with them. They're frightened for me and the children. There was a terror attack about 6 months ago. 3 young people lost their lives, and one of them was our neighbour. This is actually where the bomb was, between the pizza, the falafel shop and the sweet shop. exactly this area here. Everything was blown out. They rebuilt it in a few days. Unbelievable.
When we came to live here, maybe I used to stop sometime in the villages. They even invite me for teas. I used to sit and drink tea with them. It's only when I used to buy. I didn't go to any villages as a friend. Since the Intifada started, I think everything changed. Lately, we don't even stop at all. We just continue straight.
The family still has a difficult relationship with their Arab neighbours.
למה? זוכרת שהייתה פעם תקופה שהיו זורקים אבנים. אז מיגנו הרי את האוטו, שמנו את הכריות, כן.
אבל כאילו, בכריות, בסדר, הם היו רשעים עלינו, אבל איך אתה עכשיו סלחת להם? אבא הוא בוגד! אבא הוא בוגד, לא. טוב, כי הוא מרוקאי. הם ערבים.
אני לא נולדתי במרוקו, אבל אני יהודי.
אז אבא שלכם ערבי?
עם אלה זה...
יכול להיות.
עם אלה זה...
ומה אז?
אז נתחיל לזרוק אותו מהבית.
The immediate feeling is that we are like, they're going to abandon us. They're building a fence and they leave us behind. We are Israeli citizens. We got Israeli passports. What is it? We're going to live in the Palestinian area?
Raja has had her baby in a hospital near Salem, inside Israel. It's a girl named Dua.
It was nice and quiet inside her mother. Now she's born to witness the bombing and Sharon's tanks and his F-16s and F-15s. She's born to see what Sharon is doing. Sharon, the great Democrat.
Raja's husband was refused permission to enter Israel for the birth. And there's another problem. The Israeli authorities are refusing to register the baby with an Israeli identification document because Mansour is a West Bank Palestinian. This is worrying for Raja, as her child may now be prevented from receiving medical care. Back near the kibbutz, bulldozers have moved onto the land belonging to the village of Kafin. Taisir, the mayor, is furious with the kibbutz.
They actually said that they are going to prevent the bulldozers from coming in when they come from the kibbutz. But I am astonished why they didn't do that. This is the small branches. The big branches, the big wood has been taken, has been stolen, I can say. This village used to be really quiet all along the time, considerably quiet. Now, after confiscating their food, you don't know what they are going to do. From hunger, not from anything else. So you see, our security is our food. Until now, I assure you that our people are still in the shock. They are still in the shock.
As the bulldozing goes on, Adnan receives an urgent call to come home. His eldest son has been beaten by Israeli soldiers.
He said, I can make you a martyr right now. I said, I don't want to be a martyr. I only want to find a job and bring home food for my children. He told me to keep running. When I couldn't run anymore, they began to ram me from behind with the jeep until I had no more strength and fell to the ground. The soldiers hit me and took me to a rubbish site and told me that they could shoot me there and no one would know. He was right. No one would ever know.
There's no peace. What peace are you talking about? They talk about peace and building fences to be safe. What safety? They want to be secure only for themselves. Don't we need to be secure? Don't we deserve to be secure? If they need to be secure, we also need to be secure.
This fence has ruined our lives. We've lost our land and our livelihood. They treat us like animals. If you lock a cat in a cage without food and later open the cage, it'll attack you because it's hungry. We don't want to be treated like animals. We demand that all the nations stop thinking that we're animals. We're not. We're humans.
Netzach Mashiach, the construction chief, has been told to speed up the building of the fence, but no official plan has been released. It is not following the Green Line, the internationally recognized border line, and it is not clear what will happen to Palestinians whose land is affected.
Does that mean you had to take more land inside the West Bank area, Palestinian land?
I can't tell it exactly in this point. If it's Palestinian or in Israeli territories, I don't care about it.
And Netzach's boss makes it clear that the fence will not be following the Green Line.
The Green Line, that's the officially recognized border.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to say. I don't think that line would give the solution I'm aiming for. I'm not outlining a border.
The settler, Shimon, has taken his family to see his cousin, Hizdai, the mayor of a nearby settlement, Alfei Menashe. The mayor, who is from Ariel Sharon's Likud party, managed to get the route of the fence changed to include his settlement on the Israeli side, at the expense of a large area of Palestinian land.
We woke up one morning and saw in the newspaper that my settlement, Alfei Menashe, would actually stay on the other side of the fence. The barrier would pass us to the west. I went on a mission to Parliament in order to gather as big a lobby as possible, to include my settlement and put the fence on its east side. It taught me a lot about the decision-making process in Israel, and I think it's not too late to deal with the issue and to include your settlement inside the fence too. So we could do that as well.
Under a secret plan, the mayor, having successfully moved the fence eastwards to incorporate his settlement, now wants to push it further east to envelop Sandra and Shimon's settlement as well.
People are afraid, people are moving out, so many people are leaving, and it's a shame. But if we knew all this before, what's going to happen, people wouldn't be in such a hurry, they'd stay around,
Yeah, but this is the reason they don't say that publicly, because until in Israel it's working a bit differently. Until it's not something put down as a fact and is actually building, then it's not good to publicize it, because the left wing, if they'll hear, they could stop the work, maybe not stop it completely, but they could slow the work and stop it. This way it's better to be quiet now, maybe, like Hizdai said.
The fence isn't political and it isn't a border. It'll pass wherever it can help to protect Jews. And if I need to take it further, in order to protect more Israeli settlements, then that's what I'll do.
Next to the kibbutz, the destruction of caffeine's trees continues. The kibbutz leader, Doron, is growing increasingly frustrated over opposition to get the route of the fence changed. He has received a letter from the Prime Minister's office which says his proposed route change could threaten the security of the entire state of Israel.
But it will increase the potential threat to your kibbutz and to the rest of the people of Israel. That's bullshit. The Prime Minister and the Minister of Defense sketched the outline, I assume while they were sitting over coffee. Ariel Sharon probably said that he couldn't possibly put it on the Green Line because his voters wouldn't allow that to happen. But on the other hand, he was in favour of the separation fence. So they sketched an outline, but they moved it away from the Green Line, and that's how the outline was planned.
In a last attempt to save his Palestinian neighbour's land, Doron has managed to persuade the defence minister, Benjamin Ben Eliezer, to visit the kibbutz. The minister has promised to listen patiently to the concerns of Israelis affected by the fence.
שיש לי כיף לעמוד ליד שר הביטחון, אתה עושה לי ככה. זה בסדר, אבל תשמע, צריך להביא את אנשי מקצוע. תקל. טוב. כיפין, זה הגבול שב-49 קבעו אותו, אם תסתכל בפס, בקו ישר, לאורך הדרך של הפטרולים יש עוד אבנים. זה הכל, כבוד השר.
חברים, תודה רבה.
The bulldozing has started before you came to visit here. Can you explain?
The only thing that I'm concerned about is security. They rose here a technical problem that we can check it, and we'll check it, and if it would be possible to change the line, we'll do that. All right?
Adnan discovers that olive trees, including dozens of his own, are being removed from Kafin's lands.
Look at the trucks over there, the big trucks. Do you see them? They're uprooting the olive trees and stealing them. They uproot our olive trees and replant them only for the media. But when they don't expect the media to be here, they just uproot the trees and steal them, as you can see now.
Contractors drove away, taking the trees right through the center of the kibbutz. No one stopped them.
They took the trees and loaded them inside the fence, on your grounds, onto the trucks. Why didn't the kibbutz stop them? How did you let them pass?
Until this moment, I didn't know that the trucks had gone through Metzer. I think it's very troubling if that's the case, and I'll look into it. Did you talk to the farm manager about it?
You could ask him. We saw the trucks here.
Why didn't he phone Doron straight away? Why didn't you ask him at the time?
I thought the kibbutz must have seen it. It couldn't have driven through the kibbutz without anyone seeing it.
Why didn't you try to do something?
I couldn't do anything alone.
Not alone. Why didn't you talk to me or Yoram?
I think that there were some people in the kibbutz, not you, who, if they think about it, saw the trucks and didn't do anything. Maybe they didn't see the first truck or the second, but they couldn't have missed all of the trucks. You can't have had so many trucks move through your territory without anyone knowing about it.
The first section of the fence is nearly complete. Dozens of Arab workers have been recruited to work on the project, and Netzach is delighted with the progress.
3 fences, two simple, 1 electronical, and 2 roads, 1 east road and 1 west road.
So it's a pretty huge fence.
It's 50-meter huge.
Raja is out of hospital with her baby Dua, but she cannot get back to her husband in Romani. The section of fence where she previously crossed has been closed off. She asks our translator to help her and Dua across the fence.
Hi. We are going to Romani. Romani?
Romani? In Jeremy?
No. We go here. It's here, Romani. It's like 2 minutes from here.
Inform me in the not and go, Mava.
With the fence now erected near her parents' home, the only way for Raja to get back to Romani is through the checkpoint. But it's uncertain if they'll let her through.
The thing is, from Jalami to reach Romani, I don't know how we...
Jalami is open.
Yeah, but from Jalami to reach Romani, no way, If you can just check if we can through this checkpoint. If we can just... Can you check? Can you check again?
1 minute.
Yeah. بدي احاول بقول من هون تقدروا تفوتوا بدكم تفوتوا من حاجز الجلمي
بكون مشاحن نمرق
انا بقول رح نمرق بس بدنا صبرك معنا.
Raja is refused access through the checkpoint. No reason is given. It rarely is. She phones her father. He arrives to take her in his own car. He heads south to avoid the soldiers and search for another way through an incomplete section of the fence.
ו-30 בלילה, השקט בקיבוץ מצר שעל קו התפר מופר בבת אחת. מחבל בודד חמוש מגיע לקיבוץ מכיוון דרום-מזרח מבקה אל שרקיה וחודר פנימה דרך אחד השערים. ליד חדר האוכל הוא פוגש בתירצה דמרי בת 42 מאליכין והורג את תירצה. החבר מצליח להימלט לכיוון הרפת.
The kibbutz has been attacked and 5 have been killed. It's in shock, and so are its Arab neighbors who have come to show support.
We do have an excellent relationship. It's a pity that people can't see how Arabs and Israelis can live together.
First thing he's done is he went into this house and shot the woman and the 2 children. Her neighbor said that she was screaming out. She heard her screaming out and then shot the 2 children as well, a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Irit and Yoram receive a condolence call from Adnan, whose village is now under curfew by Israeli soldiers.
It was a very personal telephone call to tell me that he's supporting us on our grief, and he's very sad. We're very shocked.
We knew that this quiet little corner that has maintained itself for 50 years with friendly relationships between people would vanish instantly when a fence grabbed 4,000 square meters from our Palestinian neighbors. Even I, who was born and bred with a love for peace and humanity, felt a blow today. Something has cracked in me. I feel hurt, very hurt.
before they was against the government, against the fence building, and now they changed their mind. They want the fence building quicker than we want. Suddenly, it's all like, oh, we made a mistake. And they didn't make a mistake thinking differently.
התנזים טול כרם, שמשם זה יצא, ואני מדבר על הערכה. אז יכול להיות שהתוכניות שהיו עד אתמול בלילה...
Everyone said that it happened because there's no fence in this area. So I still disagree with it, but I say okay to fence now, you know.
נדמה לי שהפעם זה יהיה אחרת, אושרת. קודם כל תהיה תגובה, והיא תהיה רחבה וגדולה.
The reaction to the kibbutz attack from the Israeli Defense Force is swift.
وغلت عشرات الآليات المدرعة والدبابات والمركبات العسكرية في نابلس. هذه القوات التي دخلت من عدة محاور لم تواجه مقاومة جدية.
This is the terrorism. The fence prevents me, the ordinary man, from seeing my children and relatives on the other side. The fence doesn't prevent attacks. It doesn't provide safety or security to anyone, not even Ariel Sharon.
Even though the gunmen came from the other side of the West Bank and Kafim was not involved, the village is still under curfew.
2 children die. They turn the world upside down. But our children, aren't they also dear to us? We owned almost 100,000 square meters of olive trees. For me and my family. They are all gone. They took all the land. They left us nothing. I had to sell my wife's gold in order to buy the land, to get olives and oil. Now it's gone. We're left with nothing. No income. How are we supposed to live now?
Raja has made it back to Romani and Mansour has seen Dua for the first time. But now, yet another problem. If she stays living in the West Bank, she's been told she'll lose her Israeli citizenship. It will then become impossible for her to visit her parents or the doctor on the other side. So she feels that for now, with the baby so young, she has no choice but to cross back to stay with her parents, uncertain when she will see her husband again.
This house is full with my daughter and wife, but now I'll be here alone. This affects me deeply. I'll know them only on the phone, only able to hear the voice of my daughter, my wife and her family.
يعطيك العافية. طبعا شعوري بحزن كبير يعني.
Of course, I feel so sad.
اللي في داخلي مش قادرة أوصفه يعني قديش يعني.
I can't describe the sorrow in my heart and the difficulty of leaving my house and my husband.
دشر داري ودشر جوزي يعني بتعرفي يعني.
The settlers, Shimon and Sandra, have no problem moving between the West Bank and Israel. They go on a shopping trip inside Israel to Kfar Sava, the city where they previously lived. They're anxious because it's still not clear whether their settlement will end up inside the fence.
Lately we've been going a lot to Farsaba, you know, for social reasons. Before we didn't really move out a lot, but nearly every day or every couple of days we go down to the city now. Lately we've been thinking maybe we'll move back into the city.
Okay.
You know, I want to move. I hate it here now.
No, not because of
Look at the situation. Life here is very boring.
Friends keep living, there's not many left.
It's not easy. You don't know what to do, whether to stay or go.
I think as the fence around the cities getting quicker built up, obviously we start to think that maybe the attack, instead of going through the fence into Israel, which will be harder for them, they'll maybe try like they're saying, their policies will attack settlements and soldiers. I'm sure, like me, many people will just start to think differently, and maybe they will leave. It's all a matter of who's going to come soon, the attack or the fence.
A decision about the route around the kibbutz has been reached.
I told you, army draws a line, and there it will be. And we check it according to Metzer question. And we gave an answer to Metzer people. We're not going to move.
So there's a standoff now?
It's a standoff, yes.
The route to the fence, which has never been released to the Israeli public, has emerged, and large chunks of Palestinian land are inside. According to a World Bank report, up to 12% of the West Bank could finally be annexed by Israel, further undermining the Palestinians' potential to establish a viable state. Thousands will be trapped in a no-man's land between the fence and the Green Line, their fate uncertain. Since the attack, kibbutz residents have begun installing bars on their windows. Doron admits defeat.
They set us a trap. The government said they're willing to move the line. The route we suggested was acceptable to them, they said. But there were archaeological considerations. It would take 4 or 5 months for them to get the budget to get archaeologists to check and research the findings. They asked us whether we were willing to take responsibility for delaying the fence another 4 to 5 months. What kind of answer was I supposed to give the Israeli public to that?
Like communities all along the fence, Kibbutz Metzer will now be divided from its Arab neighbours. And the kibbutz's security chief Yoram cannot wait. He's putting up his own electric security barrier, in addition to the one the government is building.
The electric fence helps the psychological feeling of the members of the kibbutz. I'm also fighting to have the security fence put up as quickly as possible and have it sealed as quickly as possible. We need to say bye-bye, Palestine.
You can comment on tonight's programme by visiting our website at www.bbc.co.uk/correspondent. Next week, high hopes for a molecule that kills appetite discovered in a desert cactus. The story of the anti-fat pill and the Bushman.